Welcome to Spurs Focus, your go-to spot for daily Tottenham news, transfers, and match updates. Don't forget to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button now. Let's dive into today's top story. Tottenham manager Thomas Frank has been told to back off Igor Thiago. The Brentford striker is in red-hot form this season, and the Bees have made it crystal clear he's not for sale. With 7 goals already and Premier League clubs circling, will Spurs push harder or walk away? Let's dive into the latest transfer drama. Tottenham manager Thomas Frank has been warned to abandon his pursuit of Igor Thiago, with Brentford determined to keep hold of their prized asset. Frank is eager to strengthen his attacking ranks and has reportedly identified Brentford forward Thiago as a prime target. The Brazilian has enjoyed a blistering start to the campaign, netting 7 times in merely 11 outings across all competitions. This form has caught Frank's attention, having previously brought Thiago to Brentford during his tenure as manager in a £30 million switch from Club Brugge. Frank believes Thiago could lead his side's front line for the foreseeable future and prove a massive hit at the North London outfit, reports The Mirror. However, Brentford remains steadfast in their refusal to part with Thiago, making it abundantly clear to all suitors that the 24-year-old is not available. Thiago arrived at Brentford during the summer of 2024 as Ivan Toney's replacement, following the latter's departure to the Saudi Pro League. Yet he featured in only 8 matches last term due to a severe knee injury. Aston Villa and Newcastle have also monitored Thiago's progress, though Brentford boss Keith Andrews was emphatic that no departure would be permitted. I've said over the past few weeks I was really happy when the last transfer window closed, he declared ahead of the Bees' clash with Crystal Palace on Saturday. We're not even in November, so I'm not going to talk about a transfer window that is 2 months away. That will inevitably come closer to the time. Thiago is going absolutely nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. He's a pivotal part of this football club. He doesn't want to go anywhere. That won't be happening. Thiago has been shortlisted for the Premier League Player of the Month for October, and Andrews was questioned on whether he could emulate Brian Mbeumo's feat of netting 20 league goals this season. "I think he wants more, that's what I'm hearing," he responded. "He's clearly in a very good place. Great rhythm in his game, playing with confidence, enjoying life. He's been a critical part of what we've done. It's nice to hear that he's been nominated because he deserves it." Andrews added, "He's already shown he can be a top performer in the Premier League. He gives the opposition a headache, the way he plays the game. I'm not sure many players will relish playing against him. He's very demanding of himself. Some players you have to push, and some players you have to rein in. He's definitely the latter. He's in a great place, and we want to keep him there. He's very, very determined to achieve things. As a team, first and foremost. But by doing that, he will also achieve things as an individual. It's the selfless way he approaches games. You see how hard he works for the team. And then from that, his goals. Different types of goals. He's really settled into a groove, and his teammates are loving playing with him. It's just been about getting him into that rhythm and building those relationships, which I constantly speak about. We've been seeing that a lot more often in recent weeks. Thomas Frank has confirmed a massive triple injury boost for Tottenham ahead of their Premier League showdown with Chelsea. Christian Romero, Destiny Udogie and Wilson Odobert are all fit and ready for selection, while Dominic Solanke remains out until after the international break. Frank says the atmosphere under the lights at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will be special, and he's calling on the fans to bring the noise. Thomas Frank is holding his press conference on Friday ahead of Tottenham's Premier League game against Chelsea this weekend. Spurs have brought to an end a spell away of 3 games on the road with a draw in Monaco, a win at Everton, and the midweek Carabao Cup exit at Newcastle, with a trio of home matches now to come at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, starting with Saturday evening's Premier League derby against Chelsea. As it was last season, Tottenham find themselves in the middle of another injury crisis with a flood of unavailable players, and Frank will need to provide an update on various key stars such as captain Christian Romero, left-back Destiny Udogie and striker Dominic Solanke, as well as any fresh problems from the 2-0 defeat at St James Park. Our Spurs correspondent Alasdair Gold is among those putting the questions to the Dane ahead of the derby against the Blues. Scroll down for his latest updates from the press conference at Hotspur Way. Thomas Frank confirms that Spurs want to get it right with Dominic Solanke and make sure he stays fit, so he won't be back before the coming international break. He also confirmed that Kota Takai is set to return to training after a quad injury. You can find all of the Spurs and Chelsea players who could miss tomorrow night's match by heading right here. Thomas Frank will be with us shortly to discuss the latest news at the club ahead of tomorrow's match against Chelsea. Thomas Frank has confirmed that Christian Romero, Destiny Udogie and Wilson Odobert are fit and available for selection for Tottenham's Premier League clash with Chelsea on Saturday. The Lilywhites welcome the Blues to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday evening, with Frank knowing his side can jump up to second with a win over Enzo Maresca's team. The Dane has a number of injury issues to contend with. However, with the likes of James Maddison, Dejan Kulusevski and Dominic Solanke all sidelined, but 3 senior stars are set to return to the Spurs squad for the London derby. Speaking to the media on Friday, Frank said, "The positive news is that Christian Romero, Destiny Udogie and Wilson Odobert are available for selection for Saturday." Romero felt something in the warm-up ahead of Tottenham's defeat to Aston Villa 2 weeks ago, while Udogie has been missing since the October international break, where he picked up a knee injury despite not playing a single minute for Italy. Odobert missed the midweek Carabao Cup loss to Newcastle with a side strain, but all 3 now look set to return to the squad for the visit of Chelsea. On Romero, Frank added, "We'll try to take the best possible decision. Every decision is on me. He is ready to be involved. Let's see how much." Frank also confirmed that Solanke will not be rushed back from injury, with the England international likely remaining sidelined until the November international break. Kota Takai, meanwhile, is set to return to training after a quad injury. On the fixture against Chelsea, Frank said, "Home game against Chelsea under the floodlights is going to be unique and special. I'm really looking forward to it. We need the fans behind us. I know they give us everything, and the best clubs are all united together. That is the plan and the aim. 5,000 fans travelling on Wednesday night on the roads. That's incredible determination from the fans, and we need that from the team. Maybe the best stadium in the world, and definitely the best fans in the world. And we know the sound in that stadium can be insane. Drama at St James's Park." Fabian Schär's header gave Newcastle the lead, but Spurs are outraged. Djed Spence was still tying his boots when the corner was taken, leaving Tottenham wide open. Pundits and players say the goal should never have stood. Was this a huge refereeing mistake, or just bad defending? Let's break it down. Tottenham Hotspur have been told they didn't defend well enough to prevent Fabian Schär's opening goal for Newcastle United. Despite protests against it being allowed to stand, Schär opened the scoring at St James's Park in the 24th minute when he headed Sandro Tonali's corner home past Antonin Kinski. However, Spurs players were furious with referee Chris Kavanagh after Djed Spence was left out of position when the corner was taken due to him tying his laces. The Spurs fans are furious, and so are the players, commentator Sam Matterface said during ITV's coverage of the Carabao Cup game. Pedro Porro is leading the charge and having a word with referee Chris Kavanagh for allowing them to take that set piece when Djed Spence was still tying his shoelaces. Sue Smith added, "All the talk was about set pieces and how good Spurs were. Both managers conceded that Newcastle also were dangerous. He's still putting his boot on. Manages to stand up, but you see, Schär, it's too easy. I think it's Lucas Bergvall making him. Spurs are trying to make a complaint to the referee that they weren't ready. Certainly Fabian Schär was. Simple ball into the box, a number of players running, getting the contact, not defending well enough. Richarlison was booked for his protests after the goal went in." Speaking about the goal on Sky Sports, meanwhile, Jamie Redknapp admitted he felt sorry for Thomas Frank's side. "It's certainly a contentious one. If you actually look at the corner before the goal, you can see Djed Spence has an important role in this goal," he said when showing a corner defended by Spurs prior to Schär's opener. "There's Spurs set up, and they've got a few players in good areas. Djed is there marking Malik Thiago, and Nick Woltermaid marking zonal as well. He's in that space, and this is important. Now Newcastle, tried to do a clever one here with Harvey Barnes attacking the ball. They've Spurs got numerical advantage when that happens. What subsequently happens when they get their next corner Anthony Elanga and Jed Spence go in for a challenge. Elanga's boot actually caught Jed Spence's. There's no communication, obviously, because they've got a goalkeeper who hasn't been playing for a while. Spence gets his studs caught in his boot, so his laces are messed up. He's got to get his shoes back on. I'm not one who gives footballers a lot of sympathy, but I genuinely have sympathy for him here. I'd just say to Chris Kavanagh, have a breath, let him come back in. Pedro Porro's going to say to him, the referee, just wait. You've got Richarlison, just wait a second here. The numerical advantage that Newcastle have plays an important role. Spence doesn't get in time, and Shah gets up. I think it has huge implications on the goal.